Hi, everybody. Welcome to my so-called life. My husband was pointing out yesterday how my most viewed videos are the videos of our crazy neighbors. And I realize you people don't have any idea who these people are or what their fucking problem is, why they act the way they act. And I really don't know either. Like we've said for years, we've been just I don't know how many times we've said, what is her goal? What is she trying to accomplish? Um, but yeah, I'm going to start telling some stories about our neighbors, and while probably won't provide you with any answers or any real insight, it'll at least give you a better picture of the shit we have to deal with. So yeah, I'm not going to do a whole big like 5 hour long video telling you everything, but I will split it up. So this video, I'm going to do basically just the introduction to that one house. Um, it's the house to the west of us, and yeah, I'll just give you the background and the history and everything kind of leading up to Jane moving in. So we bought our house in 2006, I think it was like late 2006. Uh, Bought it, moved in. First neighbors who lived in the house to the west were Joe and Angie, and they were great neighbors, no problems with them. They moved out though, sold their house, and it sold a couple times. Both people who lived there were fine, no issues with them. One of them even said he watched our house when we weren't there because of all the shit that happened in the neighborhood, and we were like, "That's weird. What shit is happening in the neighborhood?" Because we hadn't noticed any shit happening. It was a busy neighborhood, and people always said it was a bad neighborhood, but nothing. The only things that ever happened were done by the other neighbors. There's like a house to the east of us, and our house, and then the house to the west, house beside that, and then the corner house. And like us and the corner house, and then at first the house to the west were the only normal houses. Like the house to the east, and then the house two doors down. These people are fucked as well. But I'll make another video about them. So yeah, we thought that was a little weird because we knew that anything that happened to us was the other neighbors, but whatever, that was good. I don't know if you caught them doing something or what. We never really went into detail with them. So yeah, the couples came and went, and then another couple moves in, but never really moved in. They had possession of the house for about 6 months, and you would hear her there every morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, with her toddler, who would be screaming and crying and upset that he was being dragged out every morning at 5 a.m. like this. You would hear her beating the kid because she was getting pissed off with them. But like that was it. It's like they would come, like check the house and leave. They'd only be there for a few minutes. It was weird. I had seen her there like a couple times, like at other times during the day, and like she'd smile and say hi. But something was up with these people. It was definitely weird, and a long time to have possession of a house and never move in. And at the time, initially what we thought was, oh, well, they bought it, but they haven't moved from their old just haven't moved from their old house yet. Um, or maybe they were going to do some renos before moving in because yeah, we thought they owned it. But yeah, they moved one day and all they moved with them was a microwave and some garbage bags. And then Steve meets the owner, Jane. So we find out it was a rental house. Those people had trashed the place. Apparently, like walls were ripped down and stuff. And yeah, Jane gives him a tour and tried to get him to rent it. And he was like, I own this house next door. Like, why would I rent it? And she seemed really surprised that we owned our house. And I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know why you would assume that it was a rental house. Like, it was, I don't know, it's just weird. That yeah, she was like so shocked about it. I don't. She probably had talked to someone else who said that we didn't own it. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. But anyways, So yeah, those people were gone. Then she rented to another lady who only lived there for a couple months. She had like just divorced her husband, and it was her and her little dog. And she was a good neighbor too, but yeah, she wasn't there for very long. After her, there was a woman, an older woman with her two growing sons, and her sons were like in their 40s. One of them was mentally handicapped, and the other one was a drunk. Really good neighbors though. Like the one son we had drunk and yell at everybody, but he was mostly just kind of funny. Um, and the whole summer, they lived there in the summer, and the whole summer she just sat on her porch knitting. So she constantly just watched our house. Like we had a tree getting removed, and we came home one day, and she was like, "Oh, a guy was at your house, and he said he was here to remove a tree. And I told him you were at home. I told him he better come back." And I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah." Like everything, we nothing happened that we didn't hear about because she was constantly out there. So that was great. Um, and then all of a sudden one day they weren't there, and it was weird. Like they just disappeared, and I didn't know at the time some of this stuff, but I soon after had talked to Jane, and she said that they had to move because her handicapped son died. And I thought that was super weird because I had like seen him. He would sit on the porch with his mom all the time. I had seen him up to the point that they were just gone. So I'm thinking I can understand that maybe, somebody passed away, that would change your finances. You might have to move, but to not like even give notice, to just like up and go. And to move like that quickly, like somebody died and like you're moving before the funeral's even planned. Um, there was no commotion either. It wasn't like you see an ambulance show up one day or something. Like it was just, which you might not, right? But yeah, it seemed weird, and I questioned that, and I was kind of thinking, I don't think she knows what she's talking about or whatever. Um, Years later, I happened to say something about that to my husband, and because he was already saying um, that she basically has had this plan right from the start to fuck with us because she always kicked out anybody who got along with us. And he brought them up, and I was like, well, no, they moved because their son or her son died. And Steve goes, what? No, where'd you hear that? And I said, Jane told me. And Steve goes, no, no, no. He talked to the woman when they were moving, and Jane kicked them out. And she was under the impression it was because they got along with us. Because Jane asked her one day, like she goes to pay the rent, and Jane says, "Oh, how are you getting along with Steve and April?" And she's like, "Oh, good." And Jane was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to move. I gotta evict you." So yeah, that woman. There's probably more to the conversation, but yeah, that woman had told Steve that she was under the impression they were kicked out because they got along with us. So they're gone. The next people who lived there were Andy and Lonnie. Drug dealers, totally obvious drug dealers. I'll tell more stories about them, so this isn't a super long video, but it was very, very, very obvious that they were drug dealers. Um, and I'm not fucking. I Few people scare me, and they were not people who did. So I called them on their shit. They vandalized our property a lot. They just harassed us and tormented us a lot. It was fucking horrible. um, the only thing the cops ever did anything about was that he was driving one day with no license. One day, or not one day, like one weekend, they went on a 3-day cocaine bender. And they lived in this house for quite a while. Like, we're probably getting close to a year of having to put up with their shit. So yeah, this 3 days they're on this coke bender. They have all these friends over. The fumes coming out of that place were I don't know what the fuck was going on. Um, Huge party. And finally, after 3 days of it, 5 o'clock in the morning, we had looked up Jane's information on the land titles website and had her phone number and everything. We called her at 5 a.m. and we said, "You get the fuck over here and do something about them." And she says, "Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking about kicking them out because they haven't paid their rent." I was like, okay, that's a good reason. And she continues to go on about, Well, and I found out they lied to me about everything. Lonnie said she was going to school, and she never did. And Andy said he was working, but he wasn't. His reference was his dad. And I was like, yeah, he just got out of prison for dealing drugs. Again, I'll I'll make another video just about these people. Can't talk. Yeah. So, anyways, a couple days goes by, and but the partying continues. Problems continue. So we call Jane again, and then she says to us, "Oh no, no, I've talked to everybody, and you're the problem. You and Steve just don't know how to have fun. We don't know how to have fun. I don't call being a crackhead and partying constantly and vandalizing everybody's property. I don't call that fun. Like that's just being a criminal and an asshole. So um no, that no, nice try. Well, I talked to Bill, and Bill says there's no problem with them. Yeah, because Andy's Bill's new drug dealer. So yeah, of course he's not gonna rat out his drug dealer. So yeah, nothing was done. Um for another few months, and we just kept fucking calling and calling, and then there was like another big party weekend, and then she goes, okay, yeah, that's it, I am kicking them out, they still haven't paid their rent. So who would rent their house for like several months to someone and not collect any rent? um just things to think about, and things that like years later start to make sense. um So yeah, she finally kicks them out. The next person or people that she rented to were Tim and Sherry, and I was so excited about this when I found out they were the ones moving in, because this house that I'm in right now, this was the house I grew up in, so my mom's house, and my friends down the street were babysat by their neighbors. So like when we were like 10, they were probably like 17 or 18, and Sherry was friends with the babysitters. So I didn't know her well, but like I knew I knew who she was. Um, and I knew she was going to be a responsible human being and not just partying all the time. So yeah, they were great. They were awesome. And then basically the same thing, because they got along with us. They got kicked out. Jane told them though that she wanted to move into the house, so she was evicting them so she could move in because that was her better property. And I'm like, holy crap! Like I'm surprised you even own two properties. Like I don't know how you manage that, but like that it was just funny that like that piece of shit house was the better of the two properties. Um, so she doesn't move in though. She rents to another guy, and his name was Kelly. And I worked with his nephew, and he also somehow knew um Steve's stepdad somehow. So yeah, we got along with him fine too. No problems. And then same thing. All of a sudden he got kicked out. And then the house sat empty for a long, long time, like almost a year that house sat empty for. And then Jane moves in. And yeah, when Jane first moved in, again, she still had this attitude like we owed her something. And so she would act like she was invincible and that she could do whatever she wanted. Her first night there, she had a dog. She was another one whose dog she would just let run all around the neighborhood. Uh, Her dog was on our doorstep barking at our front door for like 20 minutes, and she never noticed where this dog was. Actually, come to think of it now, I haven't seen that dog for a while. I don't think she's that dog anymore. Um, Anyways, uh, I'm sidetracking myself. Yeah, so she had this attitude like we owed her so she could do whatever she wanted. She wasn't much better than the drug dealers were. She would also party all night, every night. It was pretty bad. And like I worked early mornings at the time, and my husband was working graves, so he wouldn't get any sleep all night because she'd be out there partying all night, and then I would get home and still not get any sleep because she would be out there partying. And yeah, we didn't really want to say anything because we didn't want to look like we were the problem, but it started getting a bit ridiculous. Um, Finally, kind of what the nail in the coffin was. She had two kids. She had a daughter, like a young teenage daughter, and an older son who was like out of high school. And oh my god, and they were. She was constantly like screaming at her kids about just stupid things. Like this is the other thing we always had to listen to is her screaming at her kids because her son was a fucking loser who wouldn't work, and her daughter like didn't know how to bathe herself. I remember that was a big fight that we had to listen to early one Sunday morning. Is that her daughter didn't know how to take a shower. Um, Fuck, I don't know what the hell is wrong with that kid. But yeah, um, so Jane was out of town uh, this one week, and her son decides that he's gonna just party the whole time she's gone. They had like a table set up right beside the fence, playing beer pong. People are pissing all over the fence. Um, and it was going on all week. Every night I was getting home, and this is what I was listening to. And I was talking about at work, and I had walked to work that day because I knew if I took my vehicle and left my parking spot when I got home, I would have to park 2 blocks away because of all the vehicles that would be in the alley, on the street. It would be that bad. And I was telling a lady I worked with about this, and she drives me home after work, and we pull up, and yeah, huge party just raging, vehicles everywhere. She looks at me, and she goes, "Call the fucking cops." Like she was pissed off. I'm like, I told you this is what I come home to. So yeah, I did. I called the cops that night, and the cops showed up. But when they showed up, they came with their lights flashing and shining their big spotlight. So everybody saw them coming a block and a half away, and they turned the stereo off. So the cops come in and didn't really do anything, and then left. Oh, as soon as they're gone, back up goes the stereo. Fuck no. Like I missed work the next morning because of this, because I got no fucking sleep. So we called the cops back up a couple hours later, and the cops did ticket him that day. Finally, $50 noise violation or whatever it was. It still didn't even really shut the party down. Yeah, my husband, he was at work that night. I don't even think he was around. I don't remember for sure though. Might have been. It's hard to remember every specific party thing. And I remember her kid was saying to me, well, but it's my birthday. It's my birthday. I don't give a fuck. Well, I asked the other neighbors and they said it was okay. They don't speak on my behalf. So yeah, he gets this ticket and he didn't want to pay the ticket. So he fled to BC. We've never seen him since. He takes off. And the thing went to court, and we had to go to court to be the witness to give our statement about how this affected us or whatever. And we get there, and then Jane, this like as soon as he got that ticket, like as soon as she got back to town, that was like the end of it. She was there. There was going to be no getting along with her after this. Um. So yeah, she like comes to the court with this friend of hers, and she goes into the room and comes out and just has this like shit eating grin on her face, like, and we're like, okay, what the fuck is that about? And then the prosecutor comes down and says, okay, thanks for coming. We're not going to need you guys today. And we're like, oh. He's like, yeah, she's just going to pay the ticket. So I'm just like fucking laughing because one, um, you you had to take a day off from work, and which you can't afford to do, to come and then pay a ticket, which you probably can't afford that $50. You're such a scrape, and you have this look like you won. You really didn't. Um, like I probably booked a day off work, but I mean I was at a job where I could just take whatever shifts. I wasn't like a set schedule. So yeah, my husband had to take a day off work, but whatever, we could afford him to take a day off. It's like yay, day off. Um, yeah, it wasn't a victory for her. Like you dumb fuck. Um, yeah, so it was just kind of funny, but yeah, that was that was the point where shit was really hitting the fan. But the video's already 20 minutes long. I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. That is our introduction to that property and getting us up to the current owner, who's the star of all the videos you've seen. If you are interested in these crazy neighbor stories, yeah, subscribe because there's gonna be more videos coming. And yeah, if it makes you feel better knowing that someone has probably crazier neighbors than you, hit the like, share the video, whatever you want to do. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.